Hello and welcome, I'm DDF Racer and today I'm going to be taking a look at Dirt Rally 2.0. Although it's not exactly a new release, first coming out around about a year ago in February 2019, the virtual reality implementation is a little fresh, shall we say? As it was a little bit of an oversight by Codemasters when the game was originally released. Now, despite its predecessor, the original Dirt Rally featuring full VR support, many fans of the series, including myself, were left scratching their heads a little bit when the announcement of Dirt Rally 2.0 came out and didn't include VR support. Back when I started this channel, some of the first content I ever uploaded was from the original Dirt Rally. I spent so much time playing that game, drifting Group B cars sideways around the icy mountains of Monte Carlo or the gravel roads of Greece. So when I first heard 2.0 was coming out, I was a little bit excited. Until I found out they dropped VR, that is. Now, as this channel is all about the VR, I kind of found it hard to get excited about this game, like, at all. Since then, though, it's all been implemented and fixed up by Codemasters, and after a few much-needed patches and performance improvements along the way, I decided to pull the trigger and see what it was all about. Now, something I want to talk about first off the bat when it comes to Dirt Rally 2.0 is the ridiculously long time it took to set up and configure for virtual reality recording. Even getting this footage to you right now was an absolute mission. The default VR view in Dirt Rally 2.0 is warped out of shape massively on the desktop and makes it unusable to use as a recording. Unless you go in and start editing text files line by line to set a custom resolution to match one eye and then take a crop of that recording and put it on your recording. Yeah, it's very pixelated even if you do all that, and just no, Codemasters, this is awful. Surely you could have found a better way to do this. I did try using the Steam VR mirror instead, but for some reason on my system that has really bad frame rates, and no matter what settings I try, even the lowest in-game graphics, I'm still getting reprojection and warping effects if I try to use the Oculus mirror as well, so that's unusable too. After a lot of research, I stumbled upon a plugin for Streamlabs called OpenVR Recorder, which captures a really nice resolution, a really nice field of view, and is also really smooth on the FPS, but again, only when the graphics are turned all the way down to the absolute minimum. It's the best way I've found to record any footage from Dirt Rally 2.0 though, and I would rather compromise the level of detail in favour of sharpness and smoothness. No point having all these fancy effects and flashy graphics if they're all pixelated and stuttery. Now for reference, I'm just going to pop up my graphic settings on the screen so you can have a look at that, so pause the video right now if you want a copy. My graphics card is an NVIDIA GTX 1080 8GB card. My processor is an Intel Broadwell i7 6850K 6-core running at 3.8 GHz. I have 16 gig of DDR RAM and I'm using an Oculus Rift CV1, so it's not exactly the shabbiest system out there. But yeah, it looks pretty basic in the headset, and it looks even more basic on the desktop mirror that I have to record for you guys. Just the optimization in this game is awful. And because it's a direct lift of the actual view I see in the headset, all of the menus and the replays are projected on the screen too and move around when I move my head. Not like it's a flat image and it's fixed in place like in the original Dirt Rally. Also, all the menus seem to be pretty small and take up far less of the actual full screen compared to the desktop. Take for example rFactor 2, and we're just going to pop some footage on the screen now. Even though the UI moves around with my face when I'm moving it, it's big, you can read it, you can make it out. Now this makes recorded footage in the menus pretty difficult to read in Dirt Rally 2.0, especially as even the slightest of head movements shifts the view on screen. I mean, seriously, what's going on here? This is such a massive step backwards. Codemasters? What are you doing? You had it working in the original Dirt Rally. To be fair though, on desktop the game is just absolutely stunning. Just seems like VR users like myself just seem to be the least of Codemasters' concerns. Bit of an oversight, which is a shame because the original Dirt Rally was so good in VR. And to add insult to injury, unlike most of the titles out there, it seems like Dirt Rally 2.0 doesn't save replay files, which means I can't do my run in VR and then load up the replay in the desktop mode with the optimized settings and super pretty visuals and record it that way. Your ghost car is saved and made available for other people to race against, so clearly the data is there. Why can't we view it as a replay? Now, it's not all about looks though, and I know I've just spent the last however many minutes going on about the graphics, but there is an actual driving simulator underneath here, somewhere, so let's talk about that for a second. Physics and force feedback wise, it does feel pretty good. The original set quite a high standard, but this just refines what was already there, which is lucky because you can't really change much in the settings. Now, driving wise, the feel of balancing the car on throttle, sliding it around seems to be a lot easier, but not easier in a bad way, like it's less of a challenge. It's just a lot more predictable and manageable now, provided you do drive within the constraints of the car and don't just try and yeet it through every single corner. Front wheel drive cars feel a lot better too. Seems like the weight transfer has been improved a lot when you drive in these kind of cars. Previously, if you even looked at the accelerator in a front wheel drive car in Dirt Rally, then you'd just be heading in a straight line towards the end of the road, which was incredibly frustrating, as to me Rally is all about going sideways. On the whole though, the way the cars handle on loose surfaces in Dirt Rally 2.0 is just absolutely fantastic. Once you become familiar and connect with your car of choice and you know roughly how it's going to handle before it gets to the corner, there's an incredible feeling of flow and confidence that builds up. You just get sucked in, and before you know it, the stage is over. Hats off to Cody's on this one. Dirt Rally 2.0 just nails it when it comes to driving on gravel, snow, dirt, and pretty much any kind of loose surface. The tarmac physics are strange, shall we say. Feels very floaty, but at the same time also as if there is way too much grip. Now, having grip isn't something I thought I would ever be complaining about, but after you've been conditioned by other sims such as rFactor 2 and Race Room as to how a car handles on tarmac, it just doesn't make any sense here in Dirt Rally 2.0. You have to be incredibly delicate, as even the smallest of twitches at high speeds throws the car in that particular direction. Not the turn in understeer or the snap of rear that you would come to expect from the way you'd be driving the car. Now this is fine for somewhere like Spain where all of the stage is tarmac and you can kind of get used to it after a few runs, but at a location which is a mix of tarmac and dirt or snow, it just makes the excessive grip on tarmac even more obvious when you switch from one surface to the next. Speaking of locations, there's a few new faces here such as New Zealand, Poland, Spain, Argentina, USA, and Australia, which is great to see. One of the complaints about the original Dirt Rally was that it just got old very quickly, recycling the same stages over and over. Now, the old classics are here, such as Wales, Finland, Germany, Sweden, and Monte Carlo, but in a rather cheeky move by Codemasters, you have to purchase them back as additional DLC, so if, like myself, you owned the original Dirt Rally, then you've got to pay for them again to get all these new locations in Dirt Rally 2.0, which is just a bit rude. And something else that's a little bit rude is the removal of the Pikes Peak hill climb course, which was something that was very present in the original Dirt Rally, and I'm sure I'm not alone in saying that plenty of hours were spent trying to perfect that run, but mostly rolling down the side of the mountain. To fire up Dirt Rally 2.0 and find it missing is just a little bit of a disappointment, but hey, there's potential for some more DLC down the line, right? At least I know my dollars are going towards their budget for proper development and improving the VR implementation. Also, I just want to make it clear, Rallycross isn't really my kind of thing at all. It just doesn't interest me. Yeah, I know, Dirt Rally 2.0 is the official game of the FIA World Rallycross Championship and has the official license and all that, but the only time I ever want to see another car in a rally game is if it's parked up in a ditch with the bonnet up as I drive past and wave. Now, I'm not saying I don't enjoy the occasional Rallycross event. Sure, it's a nice distraction every now and then when you want to change of pace, but the main appeal of rally games to me is the challenge of navigating your car through the perils of the stage in one piece as fast as possible, waiting for those agonizing few seconds just after you cross the finish line until the leaderboard pops up and you see where your time puts you. Moving on to car selection. Now, I'll be honest, I really don't know enough about Rally apart from the basics and the big names to be able to speak with any authority on the cars available in this game. There's a pretty wide selection though, and a varied selection too. Now, I haven't had the chance to try everything yet, but I've had a few stages in each type of car, and they all have their own very distinct styles and characteristics, which will take some getting used to. Front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, Group B classics, and the modern era R5 challenges, and so on. There's even some novelty GT cars out there, so for example, you want to take your Aston Martin GT4 or your Porsche 911 out in the snowfields? Sure, why not? It's as ridiculous as it sounds. Speaking of sound, how is the sound? Well, it's okay, I guess. The fact I've played this for several hours now and nothing particularly stands out kind of speaks for itself. There's certainly no mind-blowingly awesome moments like in Race Room Racing Experience when it feels like you've actually been transported into the car, but on the other hand, I don't remember anything sounding particularly wrong either. All of the sound effects, like the gravel being kicked up by the car, the tyre sounds, the engine sounds, co-driver pace notes, they all do a perfectly fine job of conveying the information about the way the car is handling and what to expect. And it's particularly useful that you can adjust the pace notes to come in later or sooner as well. That's pretty handy. Now, because this is a first impressions video and I haven't spent too much time in the game yet, it probably goes without saying that I can't comment too much on what championships or longer events are like yet. Well, as I haven't done any. But I do plan on getting stuck in big time though, and I'm going to be doing some live streams of my Dirt Rally 2.0 career progress, maybe even some of the official weekly challenges too, over the next few months, so make sure you subscribe to see that and follow my progress. From what I hear though, it's a pretty standard affair without too many bells and whistles, but offers a good sense of progression, and especially running with full damage and limited restarts adds even more pressure not to bin the car. The options for running repairs in the middle of an event are time limited and depend on the skill of your mechanics, something which you can level up over time by taking part in more events and getting them more experience, so there's a good incentive to take part in more than just one-off time trial runs here and there. But again, like career mode, it's going to take me a little while to get a feel for how that all balances out, so at the moment, if I tried to speak with any kind of authority on this, I'd just be making it up, so yeah, I don't want to be giving you guys any false information in this video. So overall, despite the frustrations of the terrible VR performance and the pretty average looking recorded footage that I have to put up on YouTube for you guys, not to mention the disappointing absence of features which I came to expect to be carried over from the original Dirt Rally, I just can't help but get drawn into Dirt Rally 2.0. The driving feel is so good, and the feeling of sliding these cars is so incredibly satisfying. The locations are nice and varied, and so are the cars, so there's plenty to choose from, and I think it'll take a while to become overly familiar, not to mention decent, at every stage and car combination possible. There is a genuine sense of terror in throwing these cars around, especially in virtual reality, knowing that it could all crash and burn at a moment's notice, which is kind of what makes it all the more satisfying when you nail it and you make it through a stage with a decent time and limited damage. This isn't an easy game by any means, and if you're someone who is easily frustrated or have little patience, then this probably isn't the title for you. But if an incredibly challenging and incredibly rewarding slog sounds like your idea of a good time, then look no further. I personally can't wait to get stuck in. I just wish that it looked better in VR, especially considering that it appears to be a massive step backwards compared to the original Dirt Rally, which doesn't make sense, as virtual reality was one of the biggest draws of that game. Anyway, these are just my thoughts after a few brief sessions in the game, and no doubt some of these will change once I become more familiar with Dirt Rally 2.0 and get more experience under my belt. Now, I'd love to hear what you guys think about Dirt Rally 2.0 as well, so let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this little video, then don't forget to leave me a like. And like I said earlier in the video as well, I'm going to be doing plenty of Dirt Rally 2.0 videos and live streams in the very near future, so if that's something you'd be interested in seeing, then make sure you subscribe and press that notification bell. I've been DDF Racer, thank you so much for watching.